3 dad jokes for Father's Day. I was wondering why this frisbee kept looking bigger and bigger. Then it hit me. Why can't you trust atoms? They make up everything. 3 conspiracy theorists walk into a bar. That can't just be a coincidence. What do you call an orgy of gay pilots? A cockpit. I once hired a limo, but when it arrived, the guy driving it walked off. I said, "Excuse me, are you not going to drive me?" The guy told me that the price didn't include a driver, so I'd spent £400 on a limo and have nothing to show for it. A man is in bed with his wife when there's a knock at the door. He rolls over and looks at his clock, and it's 3:30 in the morning. "I'm not getting out of bed at this time," he thinks, and rolls over. Then a louder knock follows. "Aren't you going to answer that?" says his wife. So he drags himself out of bed and goes downstairs. He opens the door and there is a man standing on the porch. It didn't take the homeowner long to realize the man was drunk. "Hi there," slurs the stranger. "Can you give me a push?" "No, get lost. It's 3:30. I was in bed," says the man, and he slams the door. He goes back up to bed and tells his wife what happened. She says, "That wasn't very nice of you. Remember that night we broke down in the pouring rain on the way to pick the kids up from the babysitter and you had to knock on the man's house to get us started again? What would have happened if he told us to get lost?" "But the guy was drunk," says the husband. "It doesn't matter," says the wife. "He needs our help and you should help him." So the husband gets out of bed again, gets dressed, and goes downstairs. He opens the front door, and not being able to see the stranger anywhere, he shouts, "Hey, do you still want a push?" And he hears a voice cry out, "Yeah, please." So, still being unable to see the stranger, he shouts, "Where are you?" And the drunk replies, "Over here, on this wing." One hot summer afternoon, the police officer pulls into a yard. The police officer then gets out of the car, and asks an old gentleman, who owns the property. The old man tells the officer that he does, and asks what he can do for him. The officer, "I'm here to inspect your property for illegally grown drugs." The old gentleman says, "Well, you go right ahead, but whatever you do, don't go into that field over yonder," pointing out a fenced parcel of land. The officer, "Mister, I'm a law enforcement officer authorized by the federal government of our nation." Reaching into his pocket, he removes his badge and shoves it right in the old boy's face. "You see my badge, buddy? This badge means that I'm allowed to go wherever I wish, anytime I wish. Do you understand me?" "No questions asked." The old gentleman nodded his head yes politely, softly apologized, and went about his chores. A short time later, the old gentleman heard someone screaming in absolute terror, coming from where he'd told the officer not to go. He looked over at the pasture and saw the officer running for his life, chased by a very angry bull. With every step the bull was gaining ground on the officer, and it appeared likely that the policeman would be gored by the bull's horns before he could reach safety. Realizing the horrible danger that the policeman was in, the old gentleman ran to the field's fence as fast as he could, determined to do whatever he could to help. Reaching the edge of the pasture, the old gentleman quickly climbed to the top of the fence, waving his arms frantically, and screamed at the very top of his voice, "Your badge, officer, show him your badge." Please smash the like button, and subscribe to my channel.